Hi Sagittarius, this reading is for any sun, moon, or rising Sagittarius sign. We will take a look at the cards, we'll get a sense of the awareness for the week, guidance, and possible outcomes. I will also choose a couple of oracle cards for additional information. So let's just go ahead and get started with your reading. Okay, Sagittarius, something is shifting in the energy around you right now. And I need you to understand that what's about to unfold tonight isn't random. It's not coincidence. There's a very specific frequency building, something that's been gathering momentum beneath the surface of your awareness. And tonight is when it breaks through. You might feel it already, that strange anticipation, that sense that something is coming but you can't quite name it. Your body knows before your mind does. And what I'm picking up in the energy, what I'm seeing in the cards and in the shifts happening around you, is that tonight you're going to experience something that changes your perspective, not your entire life necessarily, but the way you see a specific situation, the way you understand what's been unfolding. And that shift in perspective, that's everything. What's coming tonight isn't necessarily dramatic in the external sense. It might not be a phone call or a knock on your door or some explosive event, though for some of you it absolutely could be. But for most of you, what's going to happen is internal. It's a realization. It's a moment of clarity that hits you so suddenly and so completely that you can't unsee it once it arrives. You know those moments where everything just clicks into place, where you've been looking at something one way for so long, and then suddenly, in an instant, you see it completely differently? That's what tonight holds. And the reason you need to prepare yourself for this kind of sudden understanding, it can be disorienting, even when it's good. Here's the thing. You've been carrying confusion about something. Maybe it's about a person. Maybe it's about a choice you need to make. Maybe it's about your own feelings or motivations or what you really want underneath all the noise. And you've been trying to figure it out logically. You've been analyzing and thinking and going over the details again and again, trying to force clarity through mental effort alone. But tonight, the understanding isn't going to come through your mind. It's going to come through your body, through your gut, through that deep knowing place that doesn't need evidence or reasons. Something is going to happen, or you're going to see something or hear something or feel something, and it's going to trigger this recognition, this moment of, oh, that's what this is. And what you've been confused about, what you've been questioning, it's going to become clear. Not in a way where you suddenly have all the answers, but in a way where you suddenly know what the real question is. You suddenly understand what you're actually dealing with. And that understanding, that's the preparation for what comes next. For some of you, what's going to happen tonight is that you're going to see someone's true intentions. You've been giving them the benefit of the doubt. You've been interpreting their actions in the most generous light possible. You've been telling yourself stories about why they behave the way they do, or what they really mean underneath what they're showing you. And tonight, something is going to pierce through all of that. A comment they make, the way they respond to something, something you overhear or something you notice. And in that moment, you're going to see clearly. You're going to recognize the pattern you've been avoiding, and it's going to hurt, but it's also going to free you. This reflection invites you to consider, what truth have you been dancing around? Because seeing it clearly would require you to make a choice you're not sure you're ready to make. For others, what happens tonight is going to be about recognizing your own power in a situation where you've been feeling powerless. You've been waiting for something external to change, waiting for someone else to make a decision or take an action or give you permission. And tonight you're going to realize with sudden and absolute clarity that you don't need to wait, that you've had the power all along to shift this, that the only thing keeping you stuck is your belief that you can't move. And once you see that, once you really understand that you have agency here, everything shifts. The whole dynamic transforms because you're no longer operating from a position of waiting, you're operating from a position of choosing. What's interesting is that this realization tonight, this moment of clarity, or this event that brings understanding, it's going to feel like it came out of nowhere, but it hasn't. This has been building. The universe has been sending you signals and synchronicities and gentle nudges, trying to guide you toward this understanding. But sometimes we need that one final piece, that one moment that makes everything else make sense, and tonight is that moment for you. Some of you are going to have a conversation tonight that reveals everything. Someone is going to say something, maybe not even intentionally, that gives away what they've been hiding or confirms what you've been suspecting. Or you're going to ask a question, a simple question that you've been afraid to ask, and their answer or their non-answer is going to tell you everything you need to know. These conversations that happen tonight, they're important. They're revealing. Pay attention not just to the words, but to the energy underneath the words, to what's not being said, to how they respond when caught off guard. And this is where it gets subtle. What happens tonight might not feel significant in the moment. You might not even realize that what just occurred was the clarity you've been asking for. It might be small, quiet, a fleeting feeling or a passing thought or a brief exchange that seems unremarkable, but later, maybe even just an hour later, you're going to feel it settling in. You're going to feel that shift happening inside you. And you're going to recognize that something fundamental just changed in how you understand this situation. For those of you dealing with a romantic situation, tonight is when you're going to know. You're going to know if this person is genuinely interested or just keeping you around as an option. You're going to know if what you're feeling is real connection or just chemistry and projection. You're going to know if this has potential or if you've been investing in something that was never going to grow into what you wanted. And that knowing, as difficult as it might be if the answer isn't what you hoped, it's a gift. Because knowing means you can stop wondering. You can stop analyzing every interaction, trying to decode their feelings. You can make decisions from a place of truth instead of hope. There's also energy around some of you receiving information tonight. A text, a message, an email, something you've been waiting for, or something completely unexpected. And this information is going to shift something for you. It might be good news that opens a door you thought was closed. It might be difficult news that forces you to face something you've been avoiding. But whatever it is, it's going to move you out of this holding pattern you've been in. It's going to break the stagnation. This reflection invites you to consider, what are you more afraid of? Staying in uncertainty or facing a truth that might require you to change course? What you need to understand about tonight is that this moment of clarity or this event that brings understanding, it's not happening to disrupt you. It's happening to align you. You've been slightly out of alignment with your own truth. You've been operating from a story that isn't quite accurate. Or you've been making choices based on who you think you should be instead of who you actually are. And the universe, your higher self, your intuition is greater than it's been trying to guide you back to center. And tonight is when that guidance becomes impossible to ignore. Some of you might experience this through your dreams tonight. You're going to dream something that shows you symbolically what you need to understand. Or you're going to wake up in the middle of the night with sudden clarity about something that's been troubling you. That's your subconscious mind processing what your conscious mind has been resisting. Pay attention to those middle of the night realizations. Write them down if you can, because they often fade by morning. But they're real and they're important. There's also a protective quality to what's happening tonight. For some of you, what you're going to see or realize or understand, it's going to protect you from making a mistake, from investing more time or energy or emotion into something that isn't meant for you, from continuing down a path that would have led somewhere you don't actually want to go. The clarity coming tonight, even if it's painful, it's protective. It's redirecting you before you get in too deep. And if you can see it that way, if you can receive it as guidance rather than rejection or disappointment, it becomes so much easier to accept. What's also important is how you respond to what happens tonight. Because the event itself, the realization itself, that's only half of it. The other half is what you do with that information. Do you honor what you now know? Do you make choices that align with this new understanding? Or do you try to talk yourself out of it? Try to explain it away or convince yourself you're overreacting or seeing things that aren't there, because you're not. If you have a strong feeling tonight about something, trust it. Your intuition is screaming at you for a reason. This reflection invites you to consider how many times have you talked yourself out of what you knew was true because accepting it would have been inconvenient or uncomfortable. For those of you who've been waiting for a sign, tonight is when you get it. And it might not look like what you expected. It might not be dramatic or obvious or come with flashing lights and clear directions, but you're going to feel it. You're going to recognize it as the confirmation you've been asking for. And the important thing is to trust that recognition, even if other people wouldn't understand it. Even if you can't explain it logically, even if it seems small or subtle, your signs are personal. They're designed specifically for you to recognize. No one else needs to validate them. Some of you are also going to experience tonight as a release, something you've been holding on to, some worry or fear or attachment. It's going to suddenly feel less heavy. You're going to feel this lightness, this sense of, oh, I can let this go now. And that release might come through crying or through laughter or through a deep breath or through finally being able to sleep peacefully. However it comes, let it. Don't hold on to what's ready to leave. Don't convince yourself you need to keep carrying it. Tonight is offering you an opportunity to put something down, and you should take it. There's also energy around some of you making a decision tonight. Not a small decision, a significant one. One you've been putting off or going back and forth on. And tonight, you're going to suddenly know what to do. The answer is going to feel obvious in a way it hasn't before. And when that clarity comes, act on it. Don't second guess it. Don't sleep on it hoping you'll feel differently in the morning. When you know, you know. And tonight you're going to know. What's also coming through is that for some of you, tonight is when you stop pretending. You stop pretending you're okay with something that's actually bothering you. You stop pretending you don't care about something that matters deeply to you. You stop pretending you're fine with how someone is treating you when you're not. And that authenticity, that willingness to stop performing and just be real about what you're actually feeling, that's powerful. That's how you reclaim yourself. This reflection invites you to consider what would become possible in your life if you stopped managing other people's perceptions and just allowed yourself to be honest about what you want and need. For those of you in situations where you've been giving more than you're receiving, tonight is when you're going to see that imbalance clearly. You're going to recognize that you've been overextending, overfunctioning, doing emotional labor that isn't yours to do. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that awareness is what allows you to start pulling back, to start conserving your energy for people and situations that actually reciprocate. To stop depleting yourself trying to make something work that the other person isn't equally invested in making work. What's beautiful about tonight is that even if what happens is difficult or painful or requires you to face something you'd rather avoid, it's still moving you forward. It's still progress. Because staying confused, staying in limbo, staying stuck in indecision, that's exhausting. That drains your life force more than facing hard truths does. And tonight is breaking you out of that exhausting state of not knowing. It's giving you something solid to work with. And solid, even when it's difficult, is always better than uncertain. Some of you might also feel tonight like you're seeing yourself clearly for the first time in a while, seeing your own patterns, your own role in situations that haven't been working, your own resistance or fear or self-sabotage. And that self-awareness, that's not about beating yourself up. It's about understanding yourself so you can make different choices, so you can heal what needs healing, so you can grow into the version of yourself that doesn't keep repeating the same cycles. What you need to remember is that whatever happens tonight, you're not alone in it. Even if you're physically alone, you're supported. You're guided. You're held by something bigger than yourself that wants your highest good. And sometimes that highest good requires you to see things you've been avoiding, to know things you've been afraid to know, to face things you've been running from. But you're ready for this. You wouldn't be receiving this clarity tonight if you weren't ready to handle it. So prepare yourself, not by building walls or bracing for impact, but by softening, by opening, by being willing to see and know and feel whatever is true, by trusting that you have the strength to handle whatever tonight reveals, by understanding that clarity, even difficult clarity, is always in service of your growth and your alignment and your freedom. Tonight is a turning point, not necessarily in your external circumstances, though for some of you it will be that too, but definitely in your internal landscape, in how you understand yourself and your situation and what you're actually dealing with. And that internal shift, that change in perspective and understanding, that's what creates the space for everything else to shift. That's what allows new possibilities to emerge. That's what breaks you out of patterns that have been keeping you stuck. So be present tonight. Pay attention. Notice what you're feeling. Notice what you're thinking. Notice what catches your attention, or what someone says that lands differently than it normally would. Notice the moment when something clicks, or when you suddenly see something you couldn't see before. Because tonight is offering you a gift, the gift of knowing. And once you know, once you really understand, you can make choices from truth instead of confusion. And that changes everything.